we move to the next news video as we spoke about NXT in the previous one, and we move. Well, and of course, Forbidden Door, which is this Saturday night. If you are looking for wrestling to watch, AEW will give you that wrestling, as AEW has Rampage on Friday, Collision on Saturday, and then the Forbidden Door opens on Sunday, June 25th, for Forbidden Door 2 presented by AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Kazuchika Okada against the American Dragon Bryan Danielson. And of course the rematch between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. But with that out of the way, we got another question of potential match of the year candidates, as we have been hearing about rumors of DIY reuniting. For those who may have been living under a rock, DIY is Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Gargano and Ciampa has been out since last fall, I do believe, with an injury, and just returned this past week on Raw. But now Gargano is, I believe, on the shelf, making sure that his injury from earlier in the year is not going to plague him throughout the rest of the year, which I believe that is a shoulder injury that Gargano sustained late last year at a house show. But there are rumors that Gargano and Ciampa could be reuniting as DIY, and according to Worked Wrestling, the rumor has it that it's not just them reuniting, but also DIY against Owens and Zayn for the WWE Unified Tag Team titles. And if that match happens, then it will be, if that feud happens, then that will be one of the biggest feuds and one of the top feuds in WWE for as far as tag teams in years. And it would be, in my opinion, the first time that WWE did two 5-star feuds for the tag team division in 1 year, in at least my generation, with Owens and Zayn versus the Usos, and then Owens and Zayn versus DIY. We need DIY in the tag team division again, and we need Gargano to show what he can do on the main roster, as Ciampa only has shown part of what he can do on the main roster. I'm not saying that this should lead to DIY feuding again, but if it does, so be it. All I'm saying is, if it means we get to see the tag team division get another golden age, then so be it, because I think the WWE tag team division is one of those divisions that still need their perception changed, like we've seen with the other divisions. And we need a little bit more time to show why being in a tag team is not a death sentence. And us seeing the likes of Gargano and Ciampa against Zayn and Owens would be the perfect way to show that being in a tag team is not a death sentence. But also, according to reports, Gargano and Ciampa were rumored to be potential opponents for the world champion, Seth Rollins, going as far to say that, according to Dave Meltzer, Ciampa's return was initially supposed to be as Rollins' surprise opponent this week, accepting the open challenge from Seth Rollins, but WWE scrapped the world title match this week in favor of hyping up the world title match at Money in the Bank, which, if you had the open challenge planned, but you did not have any backup plan, I don't know if that's the right word, but any hype planned, I guess is the right way to put it, for the world title match at the upcoming pay-per-view, then Vince McMahon is right for scrapping the world title, the open challenge, because an open challenge should not take precedent over a pay-per-view match, especially when the pay-per-view match is hyping up a World Heavyweight title match. The world title match should always take precedent, especially when the pay-per-view is 2 weeks away. Or less than 2 weeks away at this point. So if you're going to if they're going to say, oh, well, no, you hype up the pay-per-view match, and if you want to do an open challenge, you do an open challenge to keep him as a fighting champion, but not at the expense of the pay-per-view match. So what they did was right. Plus, Rollins doesn't need to bring the title out every week and defend it to make himself a fighting champion. Pay-per-views, defending it at pay-per-views, also will make Rollins a fighting champion. God forbid. Plus, I said it before and I'll say it again, I think Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor at the pay-per-view will be one of the matches of the night will be one of the matches of the night in England. And not just because we'll be in the UK and Finn Balor's from Ireland, so you're going to be in Finn's neck of the woods. So putting him in a main spotlight match, it's not a dumb decision. It's not a bonehead move. I just wish Drew McIntyre was on the show too. And also, I just want to say, with this, with Money in the Bank being in, at the forefront, if you're going to Money in the Bank, don't be disappointed if Becky Lynch loses Money in the Bank. I know Ireland and the UK are two different places, but it is her neck of the woods. She might be the fan favorite, but Becky Lynch is the last person that needs to win Money in the Bank. Bayley, Bayley, Io Sky, hell, even Zoe Starks and Trish Stratus is, in my opinion, odds-on favorite, and the person that should win. I don't care if Becky is the fan favorite. I don't care if Becky is the hometown hero. She's not the one that needs it. She's not the one that deserves it. And Money in the Bank should always go to somebody who deserves it, not somebody who's the fan favorite. But also, Money in the Bank should go to somebody who needs it, not somebody who doesn't. And Becky doesn't need it. Becky is one of the last people that need it. But I said that before and I'll say it again and again and again as we move closer to Money in the Bank. But now we shift over to something a little bit more serious, and that is that apparently Tommy Dreamer was diagnosed with skin cancer. It is not the first time, so Tommy has fought it before and will fight it again. But either way, the C word is still one of the most devastating things to hear in the English language when you're at the doctor's office. And I want to extend all the positive wishes and positive thoughts go out to Mr. Tommy Dreamer as he fights skin cancer once again. We're rooting for you, Tommy. Speaking of something else that we may be rooting for, that is, Matt Cardona wished Impact Wrestling a happy birthday as Impact Wrestling celebrated their birthday on Monday, 21 years in existence. And in that same tweet where he wished Impact Wrestling a happy birthday, he also challenged Impact Wrestling Digital Media Champion Joe Henry. Say his name and he appears. We believe in Joe Henry, but also Matt Cardona going back to Impact Wrestling would be what is best for business. And I also just want to point out that we got an update on Dakota Kai, and it is good news as Dakota Kai is progressing well from her injury a couple of weeks ago. It is unclear when she will be coming back, but But sometimes good news is good news, and we here at Wrestling Express are rooting for Dakota Kai to come back sooner rather than later. As I said it before, and I'll say it again, Dakota Kai and Io Sky are two of the top signings over the last year from WWE and have shown a ton of potential. And I do hope that at some point WWE is willing to give them the stage to show exactly what they can do. As I will admit I'm a big fan of Dakota Kai, and also I'm a big fan of Io Sky, and I hope that both of them can show themselves as future champions in WWE, as they got a ton of potential to be the flag bearers for the future in WWE. With that being said, I once again extend positive thoughts and positive thoughts to Dakota Kai as she recovers from her injury that took her out of action a couple of weeks ago, and we hope to see her back soon. With that being said, though, that is it for me, and I will see you again very soon.